Okay, so if I take the position of a naturalistic pantheist, all is God, right? Many of the attributes that you would assign to God, I think, are fulfilled by nature itself. Like creation of the universe.
Okay, so nature created universe.
Yeah.
So nature has intelligence because they designed the universe.
You have to demonstrate that the universe was designed in the first place, not just infer that it is. All the evidence points to the universe following physical laws. You can't imply an intelligent designer of the universe unless you can demonstrate that the universe was purposefully designed.
So the universe doesn't have design. Like it's just random. Like, your cells were just kind of randomly came and...
That's quite a massive jump, going from talking about the universe to a cell. The cell evolved, which is different to the creation of the universe.
There's no perfection in how we take oxygen, put out carbon dioxide, plants do the opposite, how much carbon is released into the ground, how your body works. It's just all random accidents.
The system evolved over time. Plants came before animals. They created oxygen as a waste product of photosynthesis. Animals evolved to utilize the oxygen.
I'm a very simple person. I just want to understand. Like, I don't want to just go and... I really want to understand, right?
Then please watch more of my videos and you will learn.
Right? So Big Bang, like, I know I hear this all the time. So before the Big Bang, what was there?
Nobody knows for certain. There are various theories as to what was before the Big Bang. Whether there are multiverses or a cyclical universe is still up for discovery.
Everything that you see is made from quantum fields.
So quantum fields have been there forever, you're saying?
Yeah.
And there was a time that these quantum fields decided to make the universe?
Again, you're introducing a conscious agent behind causality without demonstrating why that is necessary.
You make a decision, that's an intelligent decision. I mean, you make a choice, right? That's intelligence.
You need to demonstrate that a choice was made rather than following physical laws. An underwater volcano does not choose to create an island.
It doesn't make a choice.
So you make a decision without making a choice.
To its fundamental, to the laws of nature, to its own laws, its own principles.
I believe that there is an intelligence in everything that goes on in the universe, and that is the intelligence of the creator.
That's an assertion for which you would need to provide evidence.
That there is things that go up, down, creation, everything has a design.
Again, another assertion for which you would need to provide evidence.
So I definitely do believe everything has a design. My question there was that if a decision was made, then there had to have been some intelligence, right?
You're adding this extra thing in of a decision,
again,
of intelligence, of design. I reject all of those premises.
Do you demarcate? Is there actually such thing as design, intention, will, and purpose? Are these actual things, or are they just words we give to the illusion of something because everything is just physical?
Design, intention, will, and purpose do exist. We can see how a car is designed and then manufactured. There is an intention, will, and purpose. You cannot infer this to the natural world based on the apparent appearance of design. You need to demonstrate that there was actual design.
Nobody really knows what exists outside of our universe, okay? And we don't necessarily know. I will. Okay, you guys claim to know. Okay,
we'll prove it. So you do agree that quantum fields don't have intelligence in the sense that they don't cause certain things at certain times for certain reasons. It's just a law of nature.
Do you accept testimony as proof?
Testimony is a form of evidence. It is not proof. It is a weaker form of evidence than scientific evidence. More extraordinary claims require more extraordinary evidence.
All right, what proof do you have man landed on the moon?
There is no absolute proof. The claim that man landed on the moon is well supported by evidence. all the conspiracy theories have been debunked. Therefore, the claim that man landed on the moon has met its burden of proof and should be accepted.
You just said testimony is not proof. So what proof do you have man landed on the moon?
The source code of the guidance computer. It was
So
capable
is
of
that evidence
landing.
that
Well, I'm
is
saying
source
it's
code
circumstantial.
evidence?
It is a form of evidence. When added with other forms of evidence, it can establish proof beyond reasonable doubt.
Give me your
I
proof.
don't have proof.
So why do you believe it?
I mean, I don't have proof in my hands.
So why do you
right?
believe it then?
The fact that the Russian government stopped their space program once the USA had landed on the moon is huge circumstantial evidence to me. The fact that
Not
also
at all. Not at all. Hold on.
yeah,
What do you,
why would they want
you
to
think
continue
Russia
or
didn't
pursue
continue? Didn't Russia then later go to the moon? Russia didn't send any more space programs out because
that? I mean, they went into space, but they didn't.
Yeah,
exactly
so they
go to
didn't
the moon.
stop their
They didn't
space
land on the moon.
program.
There was some Soviet planned activity to the moon, but most of it was cancelled.
Reducing everything to these sort of deterministic physical phenomena seems to remove all value from human experience.
Just because there is no external supernatural entity that is supposedly giving purpose to our lives, that doesn't mean that humans can't ascribe purpose and meaning.
From your position, we have to admit that everything is mythological, which then concludes that regardless if we believe in a religion or not, it really doesn't matter.
It matters to ourselves and to others around us. It's not a problem that it doesn't matter on a cosmic sense.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, there is no God. Then what is the actual purpose or point of me believing in something that is just illusory, right?
Mhm.
Especially when I begin to base my beliefs, base my decisions, base what I teach my children, base how I vote at the polls, or whatever. I mean, the decisions that I make in life, you know, those things can be affected by incorrect or delusionary beliefs, right? So I understand where you're going with this line of arguments, right? Like, what does the naturalistic worldview give you in terms of morality, ethics, the existential life, right? The thing is, naturalism by itself doesn't necessarily give you a meaning for your life, right? That is something that we each find and determine and seek for ourselves.
If naturalism does not provide anything, if this is the fundamental reality of the world, then the reality is too that human beings themselves come up with their own values. They come up with their own purpose. They make up everything, which by definition then is no different than how you view religion.
The difference is that in a naturalistic worldview, we accept these are human constructs that are flexible to change with new information. With religion, you have to believe that it is imposed by a supernatural entity and cannot be revised.
So do you believe I'm in delusion believing Islam is true?
The real question is, would you listen to evidence that could change your mind? If you'll hold on to your beliefs despite rational evidence, then yes, you're delusional.
Yeah.
All right, give me an example of what you believe, that what I believe as a Muslim is delusional, and why. Give me one example.
That we didn't evolve.
Evolve from what?
From whatever.
From
what? Our ancestors.
No. So you're saying because Islam doesn't teach we evolve from fish, can you prove we evolved from fish?
It cannot be proven in an absolute sense, but it can be proven beyond reasonable doubt that we did evolve from lobe-finned fish such as Tiktaalik. This has characteristics of both fish and tetrapods. Its existence and fossil location at 375 million years ago was predicted and found to be correct, thus strengthening the evolutionary evidence.
Can you prove that the single cell created DNA from nowhere?
Genetic material as postulated in the RNA world hypothesis existed before cells. These came later as protection from the outside environment and confinement of biochemical activity. The point at which an RNA system transitioned into a DNA system is not known, but DNA did not come from nowhere.
If I believe something to be true, and the reasons I believe that thing to be true are refuted, and I still want to believe it because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy at night, then it's delusional. So I want you to give me an example of one thing I believe as a Muslim that you can prove is false, and I'm still believing it, even though you can prove it's false. Give me one example. You brought up Darwinian evolution, the idea that human beings somehow randomly mutated from a single cell. This is your claim. Baseless.
Is it really baseless, Hamza? I suggest you do some reading. There are plenty of websites and books and YouTube channels that can help. This might help you out of your delusion.
Well, okay. I don't necessarily say from a single cell.
You're a computer programmer, yes?
Right.
Can you give me an example of anything you know from your experience where you can find coding that isn't the result of intelligent agency?
This is an old creationist tactic, the idea that information requires an intelligent source. Instead of debunking it here, I would recommend you watch the excellent videos by the Creation Myths channel and Professor Dave's takedown of Stephen Meyer, which explains why this is a ridiculous argument very well.
My naturalism doesn't necessarily by itself give me a moral code or ethics or something like that. Okay, if you just take naturalism by itself, it's very kind of devoid and sterile in that aspect, right? You have to appeal, or you have to take on board other things. For example, I subscribe to modern Stoicism, right? Stoic virtue ethics, okay? And so that is where I add to my naturalism a set of morals, ethics, principles, and also, for example, the veil of ignorance. You know the veil of ignorance? It's a moral argument as well, okay? And a little bit of utilitarianism and contractualism. Okay.
And moral and immoral would then be subjective, right? Meaning, you have your own mix that you've made for yourself to find your morality, but somebody else may have something totally different, and then there is no right or wrong, right?
All morality is subjective. Once you agree on the standard by which you can judge morality, then you can derive objective results. Well-being is the best standard through which secular humanist morality is based.
Like whether slavery is moral or not, there's a time when the United States, a large part of the country, thought it was moral. Philosophers, thinkers, presidents, George Washington, the founding fathers had slaves. So would that mean at that time it was moral?
If they had a foundation of well-being as the basis for their morality, then it would be immoral then, just as it is now. The well-being of the slave needs to be taken into account, and slavery was justified on the basis of the Bible.
So in the end, there is no morality because it's everybody's subjective morality.
All morality is subjective until you agree on the standard by which it is judged. Religious morality is not objective unless all parties agree to it being the standard.
I don't believe that the Bible or the Quran or any religion actually gives you any better sense of morality or any better sense of consensus.
But Islam does give you a very clear standard set of morals, because we have the Quran and we have Sahih, authentic ahadith that establish our morality.
You have your own religion system, but other religions have their own system for morality, as well as other philosophies do.
But this is the benefit of Islam, that we have a divine revelation, which we don't have to see an alcoholic to understand the evils of alcoholism.
We can use science, reason, and well-being to determine that excess alcohol is bad. We do not need an unverified divine claim. What about the morality of having sex slaves?
I'm going to let you go, mate. You've been brilliant.
Okay,
Take care,
Hamza.
dude.